Hello. Welcome to Blending Ain't Easy, a podcast created for blended families to help you thrive during the process. I thank you for listening with us today. And if this is your first episode, please do us and yourself a favor and check out prior episodes. I am your host, Jaleesa Alvarez, and I am both the product of a blended family and now a part of a blended family as a step parent. On today's episode, I would like to introduce you to the reason for my present blended family. My husband, Mr. Alan Alvarez, aka Herc, he is, as I said, my husband, but he's also super dad. He's an amazing father, a power lifter, a podcast creator, a YouTuber. He's a son, a friend, a brother, and an all-around amazing man. Welcome to Blending Ain't Easy, honey. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I am well.
Appreciate for the intro.
Yay. You know, I'm trying not to overhype you up like my friends say I do.
Right.
If they only knew. My husband is awesome. That's why I hype him up.
Yeah, shout out to the listeners.
Shout out to the listeners for always reminding me that if it's one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put up my husband's podcast. So in saying that, let me put up my husband's podcast. If you're listening here and you found me before you found my husband, and you are a man or you have a husband or a brother or a male compadre in your life and he needs a safe space or he don't even know he need a safe space, my husband has a podcast. It is called Come On Man. You can find it on all hosting sites. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Where else, babe? You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah. Just kind of finding out on different things and just giving a safe space for men to be themselves and not be judged and ridiculed by other people and feel like they can be a manly man on the podcast and just be themselves and be happy and be free. So if any men are listening or husbands or whatever that are looking for a safe space to talk on the podcast, come on to the Come On Man podcast. Yep. And shout out to City Hall of Houston.
If you don't know me from there, I work for the city of Houston and I spread the word all over, man. They hear me talk about it all the time. I work primarily with men and I'm always screaming, you should listen to the podcast. You should listen to the podcast. So, but nonetheless, come on, man. Go check it out. Don't forget. Come on, man. There's no intricate spelling. It's flat out how you say it. Come on, man. Go find him. Check it out. He has way more episodes than me. He's super consistent. So go check him out. Now back to where we are today, which is Blending Ain't Easy, honey. We are a blended family. Did you know we were a blended family?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew we were blended family and a lot of things, and we have a lot of complications with a lot of things when it comes to a blended family. So, yeah.
But we got a lot of blessings too. We got a lot of great things happening in our blend as well. It's not all complications. We've had a lot of complications, but we have a lot of great things going on too. So, like, how has this been going? You know, let's first give the people a little bit of background. As you heard me say on prior episodes, I am the product of a blended family. I come from two parents who just couldn't make it work, and they separated and they remarried, and life, right? My husband, on the contrary to me, is the product of a two-parent household. He is the product of two people who loved each other beautifully, and they didn't quit. And so we came into our blending process with different kind of views, different kind of I guess glasses. We came into it with looking at it a little different perspectives. God, I'm trying to find that word. We came into it with different perspectives. So how has that been for you, coming into a blended family, knowing that this was something you never had to experience before?
It's a little bit, like I said, it's a little bit different, and coming to a blended family, after leaving my previous relationship, it was just, I didn't know how this was going to be about, because I thought I was just going to be a single dad and just kind of do my thing and just me and my son. But after, finding myself to get back in them streets in the relationship world, no, I'm playing.
The streets.
Nah, but getting back into the dating world.
They was in them streets.
No, I was just trying to find somebody that's gonna be right for me, and find the right person. And it was kind of hard at a couple times. And after that, I met you on a dating site, and we talked, and everything went well. And we dated, and then got married, and it just kind of just went on from there. And I thought it would be, kind of easy to blend in pretty well with my ex and everything. We did the talks and all that stuff, and I think from after that long talk, you had with my ex, it was just we already knew it was going downhill. So I was just like, well, this going to be one hell of a ride. So I was like, well, let's just see what happens, because I think you was more optimistic than me and my family, because my family was like, nah, this ain't going to work. And my mom told you, this ain't going to work. But you say, let's give it a try. She might change. She might have a different heart. But we knew she was from hell, and it was difficult. It was difficult, and it was kind of difficult for me because I was just kind of like wanted this process to get a little bit easier, not just for you, but everybody who's included in my son's life. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on with in the world of baby mamas. It just made it like super hard for all of us, or just me and you in general,
and him.
Yeah, and him too as well, because I think he wanted everybody to kind of work and become a team.
Yeah, he couldn't. He didn't really understand it, just like you. And like his mom, this is new to him, right? Like I was the only one coming into this thing with some blended family experience. So this was new to him, and he just wanted it to make sense.
Yeah.
And it just didn't make sense.
No, it didn't. No, it definitely didn't make any sense. And I know you was trying your best to make it make sense for him, but it just call it how it is. The person was just hard-headed. Hard-headed, make it soft ass. But man, it was a roller coaster for a couple of months. Mm-hmm. But it's starting to turn around now. He's starting to get better. He's getting more into getting to know you more. He's getting more interactive with not just my mom and me. Well, I'm the dad, but
he all up in it.
Yeah, but
he's solid.
But I see he's more interactive with you, and he's more trying to get to know you, and like, hey, Mr. Lisa, what you doing? Blah blah blah. He just.
And he doesn't seek your approval before talking to me anymore.
No,
he just comes straight in.
Which is cool. And at the same time, I know he was kind of distant because, like you said, it was new, and it was just something different he wasn't used to, because he's used to me and his ex mom and whatever, and that's all he knew.
What?
But somebody else coming different, and I'm not there, and
it's like, whoa.
Yeah. So it's just kind of super different. But now that we went through all the hardships and all the difficulties with dealing with the ex baby mama, and that's over with. Now that he's 8, he's starting to fully understand, like, okay, this is what it is, and I have to adjust and adapt to it. And my dad's been, like you said, my dad's been consistent. He's been showing up. He's been showing up on visitations. He hasn't been. I know I haven't been lacking on the visitations. No. So it's been really good, and seeing him make that change, I think it's been really beneficial, and that's what I kind of told you and everybody, that I'm not gonna fight anymore. Right. Not with somebody who just ignorant into not having a full understanding. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I told him and told you, just told everybody, like, I'm not fighting with y'all no more, and I'm not doing this. If you're not going, come aboard and be a part of a team, then we just gonna leave you stranded and keep moving forward. And I think that's been working out in my benefit.
Yeah, in every area of your life. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Like, what made you start telling all of us that? Like, because initially, for the background for the people who are listening, initially there were a lot of fights. You were beefing with the mother of your child. You were beefing with your child sometimes because he'll be in a lot.
He's been hard headed.
He's been hard headed. He's been really hard headed,
Yeah.
and he was sticking to his guns just like everybody else, right? Heck, and I put it out there on the last episode. I'll put it out there until I'm blue in the face. We were fighting. Me and you were fighting. We were heavy beefing. Like we still gonna fight, but it's not about that no more.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, we had fights. I had my battles with everyone, and we had our battles because you thought I was going to leave you and go back to her.
Talk about going to therapy because, baby, that fear of rejection or fear of being left, it'll put you in some moments. A lot of women hate when men or their partners or whatever say, "Oh, you're insecure," but like, bro, you're insecure. Like, like I was insecure. Like, having had my father, pretty much leave our family. For his own reasons. Y'all better not talk about my daddy because now he in my life and we cool. But and then having had a divorce prior to this had me like super skeptical. Like,
Yeah.
What if he leave?
Yeah. Then I don't know why people telling other people that's in a healthy relationship or healthy marriage and say, hey, he might go to his baby mama or she might go back to his baby.
Well, they say that, babe, because they trash. Sometimes just playing. They say that because
they're insecure.
That's what they do. You know what I mean? Because maybe they're the baby mother or maybe they're the baby father who keeps going back and forth with people. You know what I mean?
Or maybe they hating.
Or maybe they hating.
I don't
maybe
know.
They don't want to see you win. Maybe they don't want to see you thrive.
Oh, like all my previous episodes, they want to see your downfall or something like that.
It's like,
oh no, praying for your downfall.
They praying for your downfall. It's like, and that's true. Like, I wish I had my other book, but I remember, it was a poet. I like poetry. I remember a poet said, watch the people who say, "Oh, I'm praying for you." Right? There was this poet I was listening to his spoken word, and he said, everybody who say they praying for you isn't praying for you to win. Some of them are praying for you to fail.
Yeah.
Like, they literally, that's crazy to think of that. Somebody just sitting in a corner talking to God like, "Oh, I hope such and such don't make it." Like,
that's kind of every day. But I don't know why people are praying for your downfall.
But that's what they do. They see these things like, I had a conversation recently with someone who said, I'm not dating no man with no kids. She doesn't have any kids, and she said, I'm not dating a man with no kids. And I said, well, your boxes is what's keeping you limited. I used to think I'm not ever dating no man with no kids. And then here I am, 4 years later, I'm married to my husband, and I am a step parent. And it ain't perfect. It is not perfect. As my little statement says at the end of this episode, at the end of every episode, is blending ain't easy, but like, hey, I'm doing it. Like, we're really doing it.
Yeah, and it's not it. I don't know. I think most women need to stop doing that. Creating that box, because all they're doing is conditioning themselves to not step outside of that box.
Men say it too, babe.
Yes,
they got a lot of men who be like, "Oh, I ain't dating no one with no kids."
No, that's true. That's true. Well, I'm gonna say both parties that condition themselves like, I ain't dating no woman with no kids, or I'm not dating no man with no kids. But you looking for a good man, and you looking for a good woman, and most in day and age, everybody has kids.
Unfortunately,
so it's gonna be kind of rare to find a person that's single and not have kids
and have all his stuff together and within your age bracket. You know what I mean? Like, we mid-30s. Let's just put it out there. We're mid-30s, and it's like, it's a rarity. Like, I don't have kids of my own. I don't have birth kids yet, but like, I'm like 1 in like 12.
Right.
Like they have a lot of people who have kids, and there's no knocking them because kids are a blessing from God. They're a beautiful blessing. So, yeah, so you said you just decided it, just like what you just one day woke up and was like, you know what, I ain't fighting with these people no more
Yeah.
because it's not good for me.
No, I think that was. I didn't wake up one day. I just kind of all through all the experiences I dealt with with the mother of my child, and with just people in general, and with yourself and everything, and just kind of fighting. You know, it burns a lot of energy, and it takes a lot out of you. You know, you'll be at 90%, and you get into a fight, and you down to like 30%, and now you don't have no energy to do anything else.
Like we're in a video game.
Yeah. So, and yeah, it takes too much energy and takes too much time, and it's hard to fight. It's hard to go back and forth with a person that don't have a full understanding of what's going on,
Or that's choosing not to.
or choosing not to understand, and you trying to tell them like, hey, this is the right path we need to go. And why you being hard headed? Oh, don't tell me what to do. I'm sticking to my guns. Okay, stick to your guns. I'm getting on this train and keep moving forward. And you know, you can find me. You can do whatever you need to do, but at the same time, I'm not fighting with you no more. You know, and that leads me to, you know, not saying it saying it one or two times, and if you don't get it the second time, they're not saying nothing to you.
Right.
Or if I, you know, with the mother, his child, and her family, if I've been fighting with them since like 6 years, I just don't say nothing to them. I just say, hey, what's up? How y'all doing? You know, if we get to, you know, a sporting event or whatever for Noah, but we're not doing that no more. That's down. That went to hell. But
that's a whole nother episode, y'all. We're gonna talk about that a little later today.
nah, but I just keep quiet. I just keep quiet, kind of stare at them. They stare at me, and or act like they don't exist. Act like they don't exist, and that I feel like that benefited me now, and I should have done that, you know, back in the past. But this is the present, and we're trying to move into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what do you think is the best part? Let's get some positivity, right? What do you think is the best part of being in a blended family?
The best part of being in a blended family is
in our blended family,
and I think the love and the supportiveness of the blended family, and everybody's, you know, is everybody has everybody's back. You know, everybody's supporting each other. Everybody's looking out for each other, and it's peaceful, it's loving, and it's calm. There's no chaoticness or whatnot. Everybody is on the same page, on the same accord, and that's what I like about it. It's really peaceful, and everybody has that understanding. Like, hey, this is a family, and this is what it's about. We got rules, we got this, we got that, and in order for us to move forward, we have to, you know, talk about it. If we have issues, we have problems, we sit down and talk about it. We don't scream, we don't act out or whatever. But just being in the blended family has been. What's the question again? Was the
best part?
The best part. The best part is just the peacefulness and the peace, the love, and the support of the blended family.
Yeah,
and the whole understanding of just being there for us for within the family.
I got it. I can see that. I can see that. That the village has been really beneficial to you. You know, like on your part, it's been like you're not alone. You know, like people always say, it takes a village to raise a child. Like it takes a village, and it's not just for the child; it's for the parents too. You know what I mean? Because like sometimes you need a bouncing ear. Sometimes you need somebody to, you know, jump in when you can't jump in. You know what I mean? We live busy lives, and so that village is really necessary. It's really important. I'll say, you know, for me, the best part of our blended family for me has been the inspiration to say like, hey, I can do this. You know, I've always had a bit of a fear of failure, and I don't like to fail. Nobody likes to fail, but for me, it has been like I felt like we were failing at first, but once we hit that, I guess we hit that platform,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of rolled over it. It felt like, man, I'm not failing, and I'm actually thriving. We're actually doing this. It's working. I could do this. I could be a step parent. Heck, I could be a parent.
Yeah.
Like, if for a long time as an adult, I was like, what if I'm not a good? What if I won't be a good parent? So then, like,
You won't know till you try. And then
right,
with failure equals growth.
right,
And nobody likes to fail, and you won't have any growth, because with failure, you that's where the growth is, and you have to fail, or you have to at least try to see if it's going to work out or not, and
right,
then if it's not working out, then now you can start working out the kinks and start changing up the plan, and okay, this didn't work, okay, let's try this, let's try that, and keep changing it up till something works.
right. And that's been I guess our saving grace, right? Because we've been working out the kinks for a couple of years now. We've been trying things, failing, and
Right.
restarting, and doing something different, and trying something else. And
Right.
we're constantly trying something new. We're constantly trying different things. What parts do you think could use some work? What parts of the blended family process for us could use some work?
Some things that can probably do some work in the blended family. It does, the communication, the understandingness of what's going on in the blended family, and not being one sided, and just working as a team. That's a big thing with the blended family, because it's not the original family; it's a different family, but that's still a family. And I think it's about being a team.
Yeah.
You got to be a team player on both sides. You can't have one team player and then the other one's being a bench player, and you just like, hey, we gotta play the game. But it happens sometimes, and people are like, oh, I don't want to do this. Your kid don't like me, blah blah blah. There's always some type of excuse, and it's like, you signed up for this. You got married to me. We got married together. It's not a one person team, it's a 2-person team.
Right.
And one of us got a kid, and you're gonna treat that kid like it's your kid, no matter what's going on. But people get tired. People get, they just get fed up with something, because they just fed up about this, or something it's not going right, or it doesn't feel right because it's not original. Because blending into another family is never easy, and you have to find, and it's hard, and you just have to find your way to. You have to choose your hard.
Yeah.
You have to choose which hard you want to deal with, and everything's not going to get easy. Everybody wants the easy path, but there's no easy path. There's no shortcut. There's no magic pill. There's nothing.
A little wand.
Yeah, there's no instructions to how to have the perfect blended family. It doesn't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. I can actually agree completely with you. What needs work? It's the communication. It's the being on the same accord. It's the teamwork. We started. For as a little bit of advice for any of the listeners who may feel like that's their struggle, and that's where they are struggling in their blended family. We opted to get a counselor. We opted to get a blended family counselor.
Yeah.
We did We did like 5 sessions.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
did 5
and
sessions.
it doesn't hurt to have and it's pretty cool to have.
Like an outside ear, an outside viewpoint.
Yeah, just kind of get a different perspective from somebody who's been in a blended family, from a therapist, and they've been helping out and telling us the do's and don'ts, and like you should be doing this a little bit more, you should be doing this a little bit less, and kind of balancing everything out. But the therapy sessions to become a better parent, to become better in parenthood, it's beneficial, because you don't want to stray away from that, because we can't do everything ourselves in the relationship or marriage, but
why not get some help?
Yeah, it's all right. It's okay to. I'm here to say it's okay to get some help.
Thank you. I appreciate you for saying that.
Yeah, it's okay to get help. It's okay to go to a therapist for men and women in a relationship or marriage or about to get married. You know, you want to go into therapy and talk it out and see, are y'all ready for this? Are y'all ready for the responsibilities, the consequences, the hardship, the downfalls, the ups, the downs, the positives, whatever it is. You and y'all really love each other. Y'all have to really understand like what y'all about to go through in the marriage world or in relationship or
And
whatever.
do the work. And it's that's the work. You know, everybody talks about what does it take to make a marriage work? Work.
Yeah,
Work is what it takes.
just be a team player. Be work as a team. If y'all work as a team, y'all marriage or y'all relationship is gonna last forever.
Yay. We gonna last forever, y'all. We working as a team. But yeah, I can agree. Yeah, that's my what can use some work. My what can use some work is it's always about communication. Of course, we do well right now. We have I told y'all in the last episode, we do check-ins. We check in with each other. We talk about how we're feeling in the marriage, how we're feeling in the blended family, how we're feeling with finances, how we're feeling on travel, powerlifting, podcasting. We got a lot of things that we talk about, but we talk about these things just to make sure that everybody feels heard and nobody feels left out. And but you can always do more. Like everybody could always do more. It's
Mm-hmm.
never us like, oh I've had, how do you say? You never should be at a point where you're like, if you're getting rated, if you're rating your like your level of communication in your family or your marriage or something. Oh, I'm at a 10. Like, no, you're not at a 10. You could always do better.
Yeah,
Never put yourself at a 10. You could always do better. You can always improve.
yeah. And
Yeah.
no one's always at a 10. No one's at, or you know, you might be at a 7 or an 8, but you're never at a 10. I like your confidence, but you're not. Nobody's at a 10.
Nobody. So kill your ego and come on back down to reality. But
Yeah, yeah.
what's been like how do you balance the act of being the blender of our family? You know, like when I say the blender of our family, it's like you knew your son since birth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's known you in all these different capacities.
Right.
And then, you know, when you and I met and we started dating, it was just you and I, you know. This is for the parents who are the non custodial, right? So if you had anything to say or any advice to give to maybe a dad or even a mom who's a non custodial parent and they going into like the next level of a relationship, like, would you have any advice for how they can balance that? Balance, like, I'm in a relationship with this person, but I'm these people or this person's parent. Like, how do you go into that and you not become like over giving on this side or over giving on that side, or you know, you feel like you know,
Yeah.
like it's unlevel. How do you balance that?
Um. You go to Home Depot and you buy you a level and you balance it out. No, I'm playing. No, but no, you balance it out by giving each party their time, and you slowly start building that understanding on both for your spouse, your new spouse, or your new mate, and your kids, and let them know like, hey, I'm still in your life. Well, for your kids, you let them know you consistently continue to be in their life. You're still showing up on time for the child support visits and everything else. And you kind of start letting them know like, hey, I want to let y'all know I'm seeing somebody. You gonna start seeing her soon, but I'll start seeing him soon. Just kind of just letting y'all know, but just I'm still in your life with your spouse. Kind of just let them know like, hey, I got a kid. You know, they gonna about to see you in a little bit, but we're good, and I want to, you know, keep progressing forward in our relationship, and you know, hopefully it leads to marriage or whatnot. But you know, y'all keep working as a team. You know, marriage or non-marriage or relationship, and eventually y'all just keep doing it, keep working it out, and while you're doing your stuff as well, you know, uh, staying stable, going to work, doing what you need to do as a parent or as a supporter, and you know, a female in men, and eventually, you know, you if your exes or understandable and they want to meet the other person, y'all can set up a time and date to talk and introduce everybody. But and you can kind of base that off of how that's going to go. You know, you can kind of observe everything, and then if it doesn't go how you observe it or in your head or whatever, then you can start making the necessary adjustments to, okay, she's not liking me or he doesn't like me. Okay. All right. Okay. So the last resort is, okay, just focus on your kids, focus on your new spouse, or focus on your new relationship, and then just kind of blend that family and leave that other person, your exes, out of the picture. And, you know, don't deal with them on a not on a daily basis, but don't deal with them because you know they're going to be controversial.
Controversial.
Yeah, they're going to cause a lot of conflict because they're going to start mess with your new spouse or your new partner about anything, like, oh, don't let that person see my kids and blah blah blah. And I'm like, we don't need to hear that. Like, that's unnecessary. If that person is still being ignorant or he's being ignorant, block them out. Focus on your kids. Focus on your new spouse. Blend that family together, and then once you blend it, it might blend well or it might not blend as well. But you're gonna have to still stir that pot to make sure it blends perfectly, and that's going to take a lot of work and time, but eventually it's going to blend to how you want to blend it, and you're going to get to where you need to get to in the blended family process.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think that the
also have a lot of patience.
Yeah, that's the key word.
Have a lot of patience, and don't let that person, he or she, push your buttons to get you pissed off or anything, or mess up don't mess up with what you got. Mess up on what you got with your kids or what you got going on for your life, career, relationships, fatherhood, motherhood, anything. You just want to, don't let the other person or anything push your buttons and destroy what you built and what you worked hard for to get to where you are now. Yeah. So patience and
boundaries.
Yeah.
The word of that day. The word of the day is always boundaries, man. Like making sure that you have boundaries, and that's not just with your ex. You know, it's necessary to have boundaries with your ex, whether y'all got kids together or not. Right? You always got to have boundaries with your ex. Like, but it's also necessary to have some boundaries with your spouse. It's necessary to have some boundaries with your kids, because people will try you.
Yeah.
Like, from the babies all the way up, they gonna try you. They will try you all the time.
They're always gonna try to test their waters to see how far they can get. But you're gonna have to nip that in the butt ASAP. Don't be the parent that like, oh, it's okay, he just, in the process, or oh, it's all right, that's how he is as a parent. Now, if you want to fix that, you have to fix that now. Don't be aggressive. Don't be hard-headed. Don't be a-hole or butthole, whatever you want to call it. Just sit down and talk to them and like, hey, I didn't like how you did that or whatever. You're going to have to nip that in the butt and like, hey, whatever you're trying to do, you're going to have to stop that from kid on up, because everybody's going to try to test your waters. Everybody's going to try to push your buttons. Everybody's going to try to just try to see what they can get out of you. Let's see if they can piss you off or doing anything to like upset you, whatever. Don't let nobody shake your foundation.
Yeah, and that's not to say that they always do it in a negative capacity, right? Sometimes, like, they're doing it because people are naturally opportunists, right? They want to win. Everybody want to win. So, even your kids want to win. And so when they come into this new blended family situation and stuff like that, especially if they were used to you being by yourself, right? If your kids were used to you being by yourself, and I'm saying this from a stepkid perspective, because I was a stepkid, and I remember being so used to having my mom all to myself that when she started, getting into relationship and stuff, it was like, who this? Like, who this man? And why is this man taking my mama's time?
Right.
And that's how, we experienced that in our blended family. Like, who that? Like, he was like, who that? And why she here? You know what I mean? He didn't have to verbalize it.
Right.
He was feeling some type of way, and there's nothing wrong with that. The next step for that to me is communication.
Right.
Like both two things actually. It's a 2-step thing. It's communication, and then it's the action.
Right.
The action is you got to give your kids their time. Your kids deserve their time. That's what you're here for. That's what you fought for those visits for. That's why you got those non-custodial parent visitation weekends and the holidays and all of that stuff. You did the work. You paid the child support. You do all of that so you can see that child, so that child can see you. So, to the parents who are, having those battles, like, you have to spend that time with your kid.
Yeah.
But at some point, you got to start merging that time every so often. It don't have to be all the time. Have to be all the time, because as a step parent, I can tell you most people still have to figure out their footing in this world as well, in this blended family process as well. But having your individual time with your kid and then saying, hey, kiddo, we about to do a little something with Miss Jaleesa, or we about to do something with Mr. Such and such. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'll be the perfect time to for bonding time with the family. So your kid can get to know your new partner, and then your new partner can get to know your kid, and then that's when the blending process starts to begin.
Right. And then nobody feels like they getting a short end of the stick.
Right.
Like, your kids still feel like I could get some time with my mom, I get some time with my daddy, but I also get to see what it's like to see my daddy with this lady, or my mom with this man, or whatever. We ain't gonna get into genders, right? Mm-hmm. I get to see my parents happy,
right?
And that's a beautiful thing. That's like that rolls into the honesty, right? Like, being honest with your kids. That's a part of communication, is honesty.
Yeah,
like having that communication, saying, hey, like, it was unfortunate at the right time. Don't be talking to your 3-year-old about stuff like this, but at the right time, tell your kid, like, hey, this is why it didn't work out with your other parent and I, but I'm happy, and this is why we're here, and this is why this is going on. That's I think for me, that from what I've observed, that was the best part of what you've done to balance our blended family, is you've been honest, and you've been honest in your communication with me, with your son, with everybody. Honestly, a lot of people don't like your honesty on the other side, but that's been your stronghold, is being honest about it all.
Yeah, you definitely have to be honest with yourself, and then with everybody that's included in your life. You can't be just closed-minded and closed off with the communication. You have to communicate effectively, not just half-ass communication, and actually talk to people, and actually talk to the person, your kids, and let them know, like, hey, things are changing, and you're gonna have to adapt of what's going on, and I'm not going back, and we're all the next step is just moving forward. And eventually they're not gonna like that, or whoever you tell them, they're not gonna like it at first, but eventually they're gonna come around and stuff like that. If they don't come around, then they have the option to leave, and you just keep moving on with your kids or whatever. But if they have that understanding, then they can, and they have the understanding, and they stayed and work the plan and work the mission, or whatever you want to call it, then it can turn out to be a great thing for not just for your relationship or your marriage, but for everybody included in your family, especially your kids. Yeah. But yeah, just anybody who's out there fighting and whatnot, just work on communicating and being the team player, and working the plan, working the mission. And for anybody who's like dealing, who not like going to see their kids, you want to kind of work on going to see your kids. Don't stop seeing your kids, because I think you're like the soul. I don't know what's the word for it. You're like you're the main reason why they're here, and you want to continue to be in their life no matter what's going on, even if the other person is being difficult, you want to continue to just focus on your kids and focus on make sure that they're good. That you can still pay the child support, you can still do all the stuff, you can still live your life, but at the same time, you still want to be in your child's life. Girl or boy, you still want to be in their life because that's, I believe for them, that's the most important thing is that they know that you're still in their life no matter what's going on in the journeys or the process of life. Yeah, it's all try to find a way. If you're not talking to your kids, find a way to get back in relationships or get back into communicating with your kids and stay in their lives no matter what. And you don't have to deal with the other person or the other person that's being difficult. You can just solely focus on your kids and nothing but your kids. And it works because it's working for me, and I don't have that. I don't have them problems no more. So I can focus on my marriage and my kid, and we can continue to move forward.
Absolutely. So, as a way of kind of like closing it out, we want to give you guys some tips. Some of the things that we did in rolling into this blended family, right? As my husband said, you want to make sure that you are present. You're present in your child or your children's lives. And one way you can do that is, of course, put the call in, call the other parent. Say, hey, I want to see my kids. That's the first step. If you're paying child support, pull up your child support order. Go to your local county courthouse and get a copy of your child support order.
It's like $35.
Yeah, it ain't much. You spend more than that on food.
And keep up with your paperwork.
Yeah, keep a binder, keep a folder, keep up with your paperwork,
and then build the skills up, build your reading skills up. Stay reading, stay understanding. Just keep your reading skills up, and just keep reading the laws and everything else, and just have that knowledge in the back of your mind. So when anything pulls up or anything happens, you have that paperwork, you have that knowledge, but keep that paperwork on you as well when you go to your visits.
Every time you go to pick up your children or anything like that, have your child support order on hand. You never know when you're going to have to call in the keyword, the one that most people hate to use, law enforcement. When you're going to have to call the police, you're going to call a constable.
Don't be scared to call the cops.
Don't be. They are there to help you. I know in this time and in this day and age, we have a lot of adversity with law enforcement.
Right.
But remember that if you're doing the right thing, they're going to do the right thing. And that's just it. Point blank, period. So if the calls don't work, if you show up at your children's parents' house and they're not giving you your kid, but you're supposed to have your kid, you've done everything right, you doing the right things, call law enforcement. Get an officer at the house. Get some progress working.
Right.
The next thing is, don't be afraid to get a therapist. Don't be afraid to get a therapist.
Yeah, don't be afraid to talk and expose yourself with the therapist, because everybody's dealing with a lot of problems. Everybody's dealing with a lot of things, and it's okay to talk to a professional therapist to help you find the guidance to clear some things up that's kind of unclear in a way. And it's all right to talk to them, and it's all right to seek out help. Right. So, yeah.
And and another thing that you said, babe, was about the communication. Like, do not steer. I said it in episode 2. I'll say it in episode 3. Probably gonna say it again in episode 4. Do not be afraid to be open and honest with everybody that's involved in your blended family process.
Right.
Because everybody needs to know your feelings. Like, I can speak only from a step parent's perspective. Like, when you feeling something, you feeling some type of way, you feeling like, oh, it's not working, or, oh, your kid don't like me, or something like that. You got to say that. Like, hey, I'm feeling some type of way. Especially if you actually want it to work. If you don't want it to work, you're going to find an excuse, right?
Right.
If you don't care if it works or not, you're going to find an excuse. You're going to make that excuse. You're going to stick with that excuse. And in all honesty, that's bad on your part, because you shouldn't have got involved if you didn't want to do the work.
Right.
But if you want to do the work and you want it to work, you have to be open. You have to be honest. You have to say, "Hey, babe, this is making me feel some type of way. I'm sad. I'm scared. I'm hurt. I want more. I want to have a relationship. Whatever, whatever, whatever." And then that way, your partner can be there to help you do the work.
Yeah. And then y'all can sit down as a family and talk it out. So y'all can both, so everybody can be both on the same page.
Right.
Yeah, no, just don't talk it out with talk it out with your partner, but and make sure that they follow through or whatever. Or if your spouse know what to do, then they can sit down as a family. You don't have to be no chess match or arguments or whatever. Just talking it out, like, hey, to your kids, like, hey, that's not cool. Like this is such and such, or this is Mr. or whatever. Like we can't be buttholes about it. Like you gonna have to follow the rules. You're gonna have to show respect to anybody who comes into the house. Like respect is key. It's just not for just your kid and yourself. It's respect for everybody, and respect for everybody that's outside of your household, from your job to your school to interacting with different people. And respect is key in everything, in majority of everyday life.
Yeah, in all of everyday life. Heck, from the point where you at the grocery store, don't forget to be respectful.
Yeah. So it's good to just kind of teach your kids to respect people. Respect and build that understanding, and build just build that their respect and understanding, so they can understand, like, hey, this is a different scenario. This is a different space, and I have to adapt and adjust so I can, be a part of this family, and respect not just my dad or not just my mom, but his soulmate or his partner as well, if that makes sense.
And then the last resource that I wanted to provide for you all is employee assistance program. Most people feel like I can't get a therapist because I don't have enough money, or I can't get an attorney because I don't have enough money. If you have a job and you are covered by insurance, 90 some odd % of employers have programs called employee assistance program. We have one at my job. Bay has one at his job. We all have employee assistance program, and EAP is a great resource because they will allow you to get some counseling sessions. You get, for me at least, for our jobs, it's 6 free sessions per issue, per person. So in our situation, we could get 6 sessions under my name, 6 sessions under my husband's name, and even 6 sessions under your son's name.
Right.
And we can get those sessions to help better us, and that includes counseling sessions. That includes free consultations with an attorney.
Yeah,
things like that. You want to have your arsenal built. Your arsenal is A, you need your child support order. B, you need to get yourself in order. And C, you need to have legal representation.
Yeah.
Because when it gets rough, you need to know, what can I do that's still within law? What can I do that will not get me sent to jail? And so that's my resources for you today. Babe, I really appreciate you for coming on and being a part of the Blending Ain't Easy podcast.
No problem. On my soul. No playing.
He played too much, but yeah, you were a wonderful guest. Being the first guest, of course, I couldn't have any other guests before I had my husband.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you. I know it took a minute, but we're here.
Yeah.
So we're here. And
you should see me scolding him.
Yeah, but I appreciate you bringing me on the Blended Ain't Easy podcast, and I know there's gonna be a lot more blessings, and appreciate the listeners, so whoever made it this far, taking their time, taking their ears to listen, and hope you got some out of this, and that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say every time, I thank you for listening to this episode. I thank you for listening to any other episode. I send you many, many blessings so that you and your family can continue to blend well and just be reminded that blending ain't easy, but you're doing it. Have a great day.
Peace.